Hello there, folks. How are we all doing? I hope you're doing great. We have got a nice little episode for you today. It is about cracks in competitions, and more specifically, a recent crack that came up in a competition called the Pro Climbing League. So, the Pro Climbing League was a new type of competition that has just come onto the comp circuit, you could say. And I guess I've always been into the comps, and I really enjoy watching the World Cup competitions and all the IFSC competitions. I get really into it. I think it's really fun. Maybe that's because I did a lot of competing when I was younger. When I was younger, I did actually do some international youth competitions. So, yeah, in more recent years, I've definitely followed the competitions. So, yeah, the Pro Climbing League, when it was announced that it was going to happen, I was quite interested in it. I was intrigued to see what it was all about. And one thing that I can say for you crack swimmers out there, it certainly didn't disappoint on the last boulder problem of the men's finals. There was some jams in there, and it was, let's say, it was pretty exciting. In today's episode, me and Tom sit down and we kind of dissect some jams, the Pro Climbing League, what was good, what was bad, what we liked, what we didn't like, cracks in competitions in general. So, yeah, it's going to be a crack packed episode, I guess, with a bunch of tangents as well, because we love a good tangent on this show. Lastly, before we get into it, I want to remind you that Crackfest is on its way. It is coming. It is happening in May at Boulderveld Dortmund. This is the only Crackfest we're doing this year. So if you are keen to come and join us, to come and meet me and Tom, to do some crack climbing, to learn about crack climbing, to try crack climbing for the first time, or just to try some really nice crack climbing problems, do some challenges, try and win some money, and just basically have a good time with a good community of people, then you need to come and join us on the 9th of May. Put that in your diaries, folks, 9th of May. And also, the tickets are now on sale for it. So I'll leave a link in the show notes to the tickets. You can see all the details, and basically, it's just a great event of the year. It's become one of my favourite events, and yeah, I just really am looking forward to seeing you guys there. I think it's going to be a brilliant day. So check it out, grab a ticket, and come to Crackfest. Last but not least, before we get into today's chat, I also want to remind you that we have an inner crack climbing community. So if you do enjoy these podcasts, if you want more episodes, if you want to ask your questions to us and get them answered in our listeners podcast, then make sure to join our inner crack climbing community. It's basically a platform where we have extra for those wanting more crack in their life. So again, I'll leave the link in the show notes and you will be able to come and join us inside. I guess if you just want a little bit more of me and Tom tickling your ears and sending you the good vibes on the way to work, whilst you're at the gym, whatever you're doing right now, I'm not sure, but we'll be there. So come and join us, and I look forward to meeting you inside. Okie dokie, folks. Right, let's get into today's chat. Hello, and welcome to the Wide Boyz Show. It is me and Tom here, and we are back for another episode, and we're going to be talking about cracks in competitions, because we've seen a few recently. One, which was in the Pro Climbing League, and another very recently, which was in Quiff. I'm kind of interested in the Pro Climbing League one. I think that's where we should kick it off. So Pro Climbing League, for anybody that doesn't know, is a competition that was set up. Was it to rival the IFSC competitions? Was it to rival those, or to bring a bit of flavour to the competition scene? Just something a little bit different, wasn't it?
I think it was to address the problems that everyone had with the World Cups and get rid of those and make something which is really good for the competitors and the spectators, and just iron out all the issues. I think that was the main thing, as far as I understood it.
Did you watch any of it?
Yeah, I did. I watched the whole thing.
Did you?
I actually did, yeah, which is rare for me.
Okay, so do you watch any of the IFSC competitions?
Not very much, no.
But you watch the Pro Climbing League start to finish?
Yeah, but do you know why?
Why?
Because I was in Fontainebleau with a load of boulder bros in a house.
Okay.
So that's why.
Okay. It wasn't necessarily anything to do with you putting the time aside and actually watching it.
You could word it that way if you wanted to be negative. No, I love comp climbing. No, I do watch a bit of comp climbing here and there, but maybe more like highlights.
Did you enjoy the Pro Climbing League?
I really enjoyed it. I thought the format was really good. It was, although the bit I enjoyed the most was the behind the scenes bit. And do you remember the shot where Tomoa was taking his trousers off in the green room at the back?
No, I don't remember, but it's typical you to remember that.
That was my favourite bit. I felt like the cameraman just spent too much time in there. It was edited like he took his trousers off 3 times in a row.
That was something different about compared to the IFSC things. You really got to see what was going on behind the scenes. And also I think the competitors got to see the spectators got to see the competitors warming up and how they go about it and all those sorts of things. Definitely an interesting format. Did you actually like the format?
Yes. I like the format in terms of spectating and the kind of constant high energy moving from one thing to another. It felt kind of harsh on the competitors because there was so little, I don't know, like terrain to be able to even them out and really work out who was the best as such. I also thought there were some issues around the route setting and delays of watching the route setters do their thing, but you know, it was the first one they did, and it's really hard to get these things absolutely perfect right away. Yeah, what did you think on it?
I mean, I really enjoyed it. I watched it from start to finish. Like, I was quite engaged all the way through. I mean, like you say, there was obviously the time when the route setters came on and they changed the routes, and yeah, maybe that wasn't the most professional thing, but like you say, it was the first one that they'd ever done. I mean, ideally, they would have had 10 different boards with the problems already set, and they didn't have to come on and reset the climbs. But as it was the first one, I think they did a pretty good job of how they managed all that. I enjoyed the format, actually. We know with route setting how hard it is to get it exactly right. It is so hard, and especially with a new format, trying to get it exactly right. I thought they absolutely nailed it on some boulders in terms of the difficulty, especially I think it was men's semi-final. There was a yellow one, and I really thought they got the difficulty of that absolutely bang on. There was some tops, there was some people not topping. The people that topped had to give a few attempts to actually top it, and there was actually a bit of a battle between the climbers. And then there were some boulders where it was a bit more of a flash competition, and then if you blew it just because you were rushing, then you were just kind of like stood waiting for the other climber to get to the top. Yeah, it's really hard to find the level and get that difficulty. And in general, I would say I think the route setters did an amazing job for like the first go at it in that format and that setting. Maybe it wasn't perfect, but it was pretty good, to be fair. I thought so anyway.
It was interesting talking to one of the organisers of the event after the event had happened, and I didn't realise that a big part of the route setting team was super inexperienced in terms of comp setting, and they just got these setters and sort of setters assistants in from different places in the UK that had worked for some commercial gyms and were kind of just trained up really quickly to help with the event. And actually it wasn't, you know, you saw on the screen there was tons of route setters all over the place. It wasn't like a crack team of international route setters who've done loads and loads of international comps. There were some in it, but it wasn't like the whole team were like that. So that was kind of impressive that they managed to pull it off in that sense, given the amount of time and things that can go wrong and under pressure and everything like that, and being on camera. I thought that was really good. And what was the other thing that they told me about it was, one of their solutions to the route setting time is they're going to try and do it so that they set on the other side of the wall next time. So they basically flip the walls over, so they're setting on the back side of the wall, so it's like a rotated wall. How cool is that?
Interesting. So, I mean, they could just, I don't know how many boulder problems there were overall, actually. Were there like 3 qualifier men's, 3 qualifier women's, but one was the same, so that's 5 boulder problems. A semi-final women's, semi-final men, finals men and women. So there were 9 boulder problems overall. That would only mean you would need 5 boards, and then you just spin each board around, and you wouldn't have to do any setting. All the setting would be done beforehand. So you wouldn't actually have to do any setting on the actual night event kind of thing. Because I feel like that was the one thing that maybe made the event look less professional than it should have been, is when there was cameras out and then people came out with like ladders and step ladders and like were taking down the holds and like putting the holds up. That made the event look less professional.
Yeah, I suppose I can see that, but I would say I also have the view on it that for me as a climber, I found that almost added to the thing in some ways because it was interesting seeing how quickly the team, and also because I've done a lot of route setting in the past, it was kind of fascinating to see it. But definitely once it had happened once, I was like, oh, okay, we've seen the route setting thing now. Don't need to see more of it. It wasn't a disaster, but I think that will be a slight improvement on the format if they can do it, and more cracks, of course. I mean, there were not enough Wide Boyz volumes on that floor by any means.
There was absolutely not enough. I mean, there weren't any at all. There was a crack. No, actually, there wasn't a crack. There was a jam found by Max Milne in the finals. It was interesting, actually, because that was one of the moments of the comps. And also, that was the thing that a lot of people were talking about after the comp. And when I spoke to other people and other people in the industry about the competition, they were like, yeah, that was the moment of the comp. That actually made the comp. It was like Max saved it with those jams. It's actually quite interesting that jamming has... it's like what we saw in Meiringen with Ondra, when Ondra came out and saved that final, because the final was destined to be a little bit dead on that last problem, or that last boulder was destined to be a little bit dead, and then Ondra just came out and saved it with jams. And then, like now, however many years later it is, Max saves it in the first pro climbing league with some jams, and just everybody just went absolutely mental with it. It was brilliant. What did you think to it? What did you think to the jams, or the sequence? Or do you think the route setters had even noticed that there was a jamming possibility in there?
I don't think they will have. No, I would be really doubtful of that because it didn't look like it had been set in that way. So yeah, I'm going to say no. I don't think they did.
No, I mean, I definitely don't think they did. It was definitely set as the way that it looked like Colin was trying to do it, as some sort of like jump, paddly, double clutch catch. Colin was paddling, but Max was also kind of paddling. They were both paddling, but one was jam paddling.
Do you know what, Pete? I've just had a vision from the future.
Oh, I love this. Go on. Yeah.
Picture this. It's 2037.
Yeah.
We've got the PGL, the Pro Jamming League. PJL.
Pro Jamming League, but at the moment it's PCL.
No, there's still the PCL, but there's also the PJL.
Oh, the PJL.
And we've got our own league.
That's like the Peter Jack League. That's like my middle name.
Oh, yeah, isn't it?
Right, anyway, carry on. Sorry.
And we've got this international league, all the best jammers around the world competing head to head on all these crack problems. Millions, if not billions, of people tuning into the live streaming. And then in the first event of the series, the two problems going head to head in the men's final, and someone finds a crimp on the edge of the crack and cheats the problem. Zoom to 2 weeks later, D Woods and Sean Rabatou are on their podcast discussing whether crimping saved the day, and actually it's crimping, which is what we should be doing.
Yeah, that would be something, wouldn't it? That would be something. That could happen, though. Do you think that's going to happen?
The PJL, I mean, we weren't sure whether Crackfest was going to go as far as it did.
No, and it has.
In all honesty, I feel like Crackfest is only now the kind of, let's say, limited size that it is, just because we don't have the capacity to run a Crackfest every month in a different city across the world. But if we had the capacity to do it, I'm fairly sure we could have a Crackfest every single month in different places all around the world, and you could do a world tour of Crackfest.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely could. People are frothing for Crackfest. I get sort of requests from gyms, I would say, when there's sort of posts of Crackfest going up online after it's happened, or we're going through a phase of posting about Crackfest, I would say like once a month I get requests from different gyms, just from different locations, Europe, States. People want the crack.
They want the PJL.
I mean, the PJL would be something else, wouldn't it? That would be something wild.
Oh, imagine all the climbers there, like lined up with their crack gloves in the back of their hands in front of the wall.
They'd be in full rubber, like, because anything goes. It wouldn't be like just knee pads and crack gloves anymore.
Would we allow it to be like the enhanced games?
Is that that Olympic thing where they're just allowed to? No, it can't be Olympics. That's like a special games, isn't it? Where they're allowed to take performance enhancing drugs to get the best records or something. Has that actually happened?
Yeah, there was loads of promo on it on social media a while back, and then there was a thing on was it Netflix? There's a documentary that I watched a part of the other night, and it was a bit of a crap documentary. I just only watched about 10 minutes and then gave up. So I'm going to say I don't think it has happened because they would have smashed it with all the marketing.
For the Pro Jamming League, then I don't think I would be. I don't think I would be keen to go down the same road as the whatever it's called enhanced games. But I wouldn't mind people just coming out in lots of different like rubber suits.
Well, that was kind of what I was thinking. I wasn't actually thinking taking performance-enhancing drugs. I was more thinking of the ridiculous amounts of rubber, spatula shoes, bike tyres on the backs of their fingers, all sorts of things.
Yeah, that would be good.
We should do a podcast which talks specifically about that whole thing, you know, about knee pads, elbow sleeves, bike tyres, inner tubes on the backs of your fingers, you know, all the things that you can do to it basically make your crack climbing life a lot easier, and whether it's okay. Where do we go with it? Should we be doing it?
It's a great idea, actually. That can be the next one. Unless anybody gives us any other suggestions. I like it. There's probably some good stuff to dig into there, isn't there?
Yeah, I think there is.
Controversy maybe as well.
Because it came up again recently about the bike inner tube tyre thing, which I've never done, but I found out that someone had done it on a really hard ascent recently. And I was like, I personally don't think that's quite right, but obviously it is getting done. And is it wrong, or is it actually okay? I don't know.
The Pro Jamming League, that might happen. There could be a development of Crackfest depending on where that goes. But coming back to the Pro Climbing League and jamming in the final boulder, people were saying that it sort of made the competition. Do you think it made the competition? Was it a highlight for you?
It was a highlight because it was the perfect release of spectator tension, because you were thinking, oh God, the setters haven't quite got this thing right. No one's going to top it. It's going to be a slight disappointment in terms of kind of perfect one person tops it over the other person. And I think you feel that tension as a spectator, because you know that it should end in a certain way. And then when Max found the sequence, you were like, oh my God, maybe. But then because he didn't make it work immediately, that built even more tension. And then he pulled it out of the bag at the absolute last minute. It just couldn't have been any better, really. I think if the problem had been easier and they both got to the top and it both involved jams, we would have gone, oh, well, that was cool. But I don't know, it was kind of poetic the way that it was all solved by a British climber who's spent a reasonable amount of time learning how to crack climb, has done this also in other comps and pulled himself an advantage in a few times. And there he does it against an American who should, I mean, it's like flipping in their cultural heritage of climbing. They should know how to jam. And here's the Brits going big again. Jamaican bobsleigh team.
Where has it come from, the jamming? You actually used to do some coaching with Max, didn't you, when he was younger? Was his first ever jamming actually in your cellar, or had he done some stuff before that? Or did you actually like show him his first ever hand jam?
It was through me that he learned how to crack climb, because I trained him for, I'm going to roughly guess this, maybe 3-ish years, something like that. He actually spent quite a lot of time staying at our house, and would come for kind of like little training camps, I guess, in Sheffield. And part of that was the fact that I would train with him because I wanted to do my training as well. I'd be like, right, Max, we're going in the cellar. We're doing a cellar session. And because he was dead psyched and he just wanted to learn everything, he would join. I mean, I used to take him running as well.
Really? How was this in your running phase?
Yeah. So I was running. He was going down the cellar.
That's quite funny.
We'd go down the wall and have normal sessions. We'd go and climb on grit. Yeah, we did quite a variety of different things. But yeah, he's actually spent, aside from Will's probably the first person who spent the most time in the cellar.
That's Will Bosey.
Yeah, Will Bosey, crack climbing with me. And then I would say Max is the second most exposure to crack climbing with me.
Interesting. And how did he actually get on down in the cellar? Did he kind of enjoy it? Did he take to it pretty quickly?
I would say he was like many people. He had a really hard time initially. Just couldn't really do anything other than the absolute basics. But over time, he kind of realised that it was very much a technique thing, and he improved more and more. I'd say he wasn't quite as good as Will in terms of just natural aptitude towards it, but I feel like that could be unfair to Max, because I think Will might have had his intro to crack climbing from me when he was a little bit older and a bit more experienced, been climbing more years. So technically he was just a more rounded climber, whereas Max, I think, had still maybe not been climbing quite as much time, especially on rock, because, yeah, he was very much an indoor climber. Yeah, I think there's a slight difference on that. But amongst both of them, they were both really, really keen to learn. And that's the thing that I've seen with other, elite pro climbers over the years, is the ones that seem to do well, the crack climbing, the ones that when you show them the basics, they go, oh, but what about this? Oh, how'd you do that? Oh, can you show me again? And they're just genuinely curious rather than going, this sucks. This is painful. I don't like jamming. Those ones never get anywhere. So
Yeah, interestingly, I've seen Max now. Well, he obviously he won with the jamming in the Pro Climbing League, but he also, I feel like he won at Quiff one year as well because of the jamming. It was maybe some hand jamming and some foot jamming, and he pulled something out the bag in that as well. There might have been some other competitions. Maybe there's been some other World Cup competitions as well, but I definitely feel like it's been in his repertoire. And I also feel like he's become a bit well known, or the king for like thinking out the box in competitions and thinking up these like mad sequences or like beta breaks or things like that. Whenever I watch him now, you can never, like, I was watching him in the Quiff the other night and he just totally skipped. He just went past the bonus. He totally skipped the bonus. And like everybody was going into this like horrendous, like crossing over to this hold and then going into this horrendous slopey bonus hold. And he just like grabbed the arete and then just launched to the top hold and just missed like the bonus and 2 holds. I don't think he ever got the bonus.
Oh, really?
He just went to the top. What happens in competitions then? Do you still get the bonus even if you miss the bonus?
I don't know.
Because he topped the boulder, but he never grabbed or used the bonus.
Surely the bonus doesn't count within the scoring system if you've got the top. It kind of like negates it.
You have tops and you have like number of tops, and then you have bonuses. You have number of bonuses that you get. And if you have 2 people with each have 3 tops in 5 goes, let's say, they're tied on that, and then the bonuses come into play. And it's like, oh, this person had 3 bonuses and this person had 4 bonuses.
It has to be awarded to get a bonus if you got a top. Has to be.
You would have thought so, wouldn't you?
But I don't actually know.
When do you give that attempt on bonus? I guess when you get to the top, then you give the attempt on the bonus. Maybe somebody who knows the rules of comps can let us know that one, because I hadn't thought about that until just now. That like just completely skip the bonus.
Yeah, I mean, you've watched a lot more comps than I have, so I feel like you're definitely more qualified on the opinion on this one.
But I have no idea still.
Even though I've trained loads of comp climbers.
Yeah. Also, with the jamming in the Pro Climbing League, afterwards there was a lot of blood going on. So there'll be people saying, or there was people saying like, "Wow, that made it. That was great. That was the best thing." And then there's always some other people on the other side of the argument saying jams shouldn't be in competitions, or well, I mean, it wasn't even set as a jam, was it? So it was a beta break in a way. Like, what do you think to this aspect of it all? It is problematic in a way if you are bleeding on the jams, because then you put your hands back in the crack and then there's blood in the crack and, there's blood on the holds and then people can't climb in because there's loads of blood on the holds.
I don't know if you've noticed this, but when jamming is getting included in sort of standard comp style boulder problems now, they're putting the Dual-Tex shiny surface on the back side of the hand so that you don't have the whole issue of like pulling massive flappers and bleeding out on the holds. I've seen that kind of fairly consistently now, which I'm wondering whether that's the way of dealing with this whole bleeding out thing, because you're just not going to get it if you have low texture. Because for sure, as soon as you have that kind of like resin plus sand, gritty texture on anything, even like my hands are reasonably tough, I would say, but I rip flappers all the time on those things as soon as I actually start like slipping a little bit or I'm trying at maximum capacity. If it's a cruise, then yeah, I don't get flappers, but a maximum straight away, really.
I was just about to say the same. I think the way forward is using shiny surfaces, Dual-Tex, slick volumes, whatever it might be, for the back side of the hand. I think on the palm side you can still have friction, but then you've really got to make sure that the person is actually not going to jam the other way around and put their other hand on the friction side. I guess with the jam that Max did, it was like in a horizontal break. So you could have had the shiny side on the top surface because you're never going to have the person putting their hand in with palm side up because you were reaching too far to it. I definitely think it is a thing that we've been aware of it right from the beginning. I think some of the first volumes that we ever made for Wide Boyz were full of grip texture, just like some horrendous grip thing, and they're just like, we've been through the whole process of trying to find something that's actually kind to the hand and come over all these issues so people aren't bleeding in cracks. And I mean, I think there is a way around it. Soft material in there, like we have this shiny material, have the slick material, have the grip side on the palm side. Yeah, all these different things, and I think it does make for good jamming.
Leather cracks. That's what we want.
Leather cracks.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. Like a Chesterfield sofa, but maybe we could do a collab with Chesterfield's sofa company.
Yeah, why Chesterfield sofas?
Those ones that are like those really fancy leather sofas that have the sort of the button where it's indented and they're massive, and I don't really know my sofas very well, but I just think of those as being the fancy leather sofa. It's like a brand of fancy leather sofa.
Oh, Chesterfield is the brand. You don't just mean like a shop in Chesterfield which is selling sofas.
No.
Is Chesterfield the brand from Chesterfield the place?
Do you know, I actually reckon it's not.
Okay, so you want Chesterfield sofa, or a Chesterfield sofa in your crack.
Yes.
Okay, well, we might be able to sort that out.
That'd be a great collab.
Yeah, maybe we can collab with some other sofa brands and see which is the best.
Would be nice,
Yeah,
wouldn't
it could be good.
Leather crack.
Our white soft grip is kind of like a leathery rubber. It's not leather, it's more rubber, isn't it? I guess we've been using rubber.
Yeah, which is good. That also just doesn't ruin your hands. Yeah, but I just think we're not going to see it in comps.
What do you think the progression is for cracks in comps now? The real moment where things started, or people looked and it was like, ooh, cracks, and people put cracks on the map, was the Ondra comp, or the IFSC and Meiringen and Ondra coming out and winning. That was like I feel like the first real crack we'd seen in an international competition. And then since then, we've obviously been like hard pushing for the cracks in comps, and we've obviously done some collabs with 360 Holds to make some cracks, and they've been in some of the World Cups, but they haven't really been set as kind of specific jams or cracks. But then we have seen other holds being used as jams or crack features on and off in competitions, but they're not a common feature, but they're definitely popping up more than they used to, I would say, to kind of surprise the athletes maybe. But where do you see it going? What do you see happening in the future? Are we going to see, because at the moment we have the competitors come out and they know they're going to get a slab. They know they're going to get a triple dyno. They know they're going to get a power problem, and they know they're going to get some kind of coordination. Do they know they're going to come out and get a crack? Is that going to happen?
I think it will forever be a little bit of a wild card, but where I think the evolution in the comp crack setting will be is that the standard of your crack in the comp setting will go up. I feel like a lot of it's maybe at the moment right on the bottom end of the grading compared to any of the other problems in the comps. Like, I'd be fairly certain that a lot of the crack problems that we see in comps, me and you could get up, whereas the other problems,
not a chance.
Yeah, they would just be totally impossible. I think over the next 5 to 10 years, the grade of those crack problems will level up with everything else, where you'll see like a solid font 7C in your crack style in those comp problems, but just randomly thrown in every now and again as the competitor standard goes up. But I think the competitors at the moment still probably get reasonably shut down, or at least some of them do, around font 7A on crack style.
But you do think that crack standard is going to go up, but very slowly probably?
Yeah, just bit by bit. I think maybe an important part of the equation is people like Connor and the younger generation coming through, establishing really hard crack lines and really hard crack boulders, so that there's that kind of inspiration all the way down, sort of like that trickle down effect.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to come into competitions, though, does it?
I think it will, very, very slowly.
Because you think the outside climbing has an influence on what's going on in the competitions, or?
Yeah, I do. Because I think it's still at the moment where essentially the industry's kudos and cutting edge is pushed. I don't think people are pushing the bouldering limits indoors at the moment. People aren't trying V16s, 17s, 18s indoors, and the same for sport, trad, whatever. I think it's at the areas of limits where the sport's pushed, but you just get a slow trickle down effect that occurs elsewhere. That's my view on it. I mean, I could be totally wrong with it. Yeah, I think the standard will go up. slowly in the comps. I mean, what do you see in terms of, you've obviously been involved quite a bit with the development of cracks with 360 and the volumes of them. What's the stuff that's going on behind the scenes when you talk about crack holds, jamming holds, indoor and comps and things? Because they also very involved with competitions and they're massively experienced at that. So you must talk about things which, are not necessarily obvious to the general public.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely becoming more well-known or thought about within the setting community. People are recognizing cracks, people are knowing it's a style, both I think in the competition world and in the commercial setting world. I mean, especially in the commercial setting world, I see cracks popping up way, way more now than they used to. Like in the last 12 to 24 months, I'm constantly seeing things popping up, whether that's with our crack volumes that have gone to climbing gyms or whether that's climbing gyms using specific holds and volumes to create cracks. And also I've actually seen a lot of commercial gyms now going down that route of what we kind of do for Crackfest as well, and not just setting pure cracks, but actually setting jams in boulder problems or routes. Because I think there's a little bit of a difference there. I think people think crack climbing, then they think, oh, I have to set a splitter crack from bottom to top. But actually, you can set really interesting boulder problems with jams in them, made up of all different types of holds, which don't have to be complete splitter cracks, and they can make really good problems. And I've seen more setters doing that now than they used to be as well, which I think is quite exciting. People are starting to like grasp this concept of, trying to create jamming problems as well as setting just pure crack climbing problems. I think it's moving in the right direction. I think it's very, very slow still. But we're on what's the bottom of the curve called? Is it an exponential?
Yeah, an exponential curve.
The one that goes really flat, but then suddenly something picks up momentum. It's like snowballing effect, and then it can't slow down, and then it's just like, and then it just skyrockets.
And then it crashes.
Yeah. So at the moment, we're on the very flat bit, but it's just started to raise. So for like 10 years, we've been flat. We have been really flat. And it's been me and you banging on about trying to get cracks indoors, and we have been flat. But the time is so long that you can't see the increase. There's been small increase, but it's been very flat. Now we're just getting to the bottom of the curve starting to go up. But it's we're on the very slow bit. So we've still got maybe another 10 years, and then we start to see it skyrocket. I'm going to give it 10 to 15.
You know what you need to do, Pete? Or maybe what we need to do? We need to go and, have you seen that function within Google where you can see the popularity of certain search terms globally, and you can track them over time of how much people are searching for different things?
No.
Yeah, so you can go and track like keywords that people search for over time.
How do we do that? Can we do it really quickly now?
Probably can.
We should definitely do that.
Track.
And then we can create a graph.
Because it was really interesting during like the COVID years and stuff like that. There were like massive spikes in certain keywords and things. Google Trends. Oh, I've got a graph.
Have you got a graph?
Yeah, I've got a graph. Well, that's quite good.
Okay, so Tom is now just showing me a graph over the computer screen. What have you put in? I can't see the search term. What is it?
Crack climbing.
Oh, crack climbing. Oh, it's increasing.
Yeah, like significantly.
It's massively increasing. What time period is that over?
So that's from 2004 to... Oh, no, wait, that's only the UK. Wait, let's just do global. That's interesting. We're actually...
Oh, this is the graph I wanted to see. It's slowly notching up, but we're still on the flat bit, but we're just slowly notching up. What's the time frame of this?
2006.
Okay, so we're 20 years in.
Yeah, 20 years.
For folks who are listening, the graph is pretty flat. I would say it's pretty flat with small spikes in it, but towards the end, it is starting to slightly notch up.
What else would you like?
I don't know.
Paddle hand.
Paddle hand. Yeah, put paddle hand in.
I think in the data, sometimes it just doesn't find it.
Actually, paddle hand, that's too generic. It's not enough to do with crack climbing.
No, it's got it.
That is actually genius. So Tom has shown me the graph now, and it is pretty flat, a gradual increase, and then there's a massive spike in the last... What is that? Is that the last, 4 years?
The really big spike is actually in the last year or so, but it significantly started to rise from 2020.
What about hand jam? Put something generic in like hand jam. Trout tickler. No, that's not very well. That's not very well known. Wide pony. I wish we could actually show these graphs. I can just explain them as you show them to me.
Hand jam also picks up a lot in recent years. Yeah, it's very, very flat, and then recent times. Yeah, it's kind of cool, isn't it?
Yeah, so things are changing then.
But I don't know whether jam also could be related to music.
Okay, this is good. So crack climbing is on the rise. At least we're not on the decline. So it's been 20 years and we've been on the flat, but the last 5 have definitely had some like increase and spike. Well, spikes in very specific terms within the crack climbing niche, and then crack climbing in general is on a gentle upward trend. So we're right at the bottom of that curve now. So we're going to have to keep banging on about this for definitely another 20 years.
We just need more people to be banging on about it. But I just don't know how we get people to bang on about it more. How do we do that, Pete?
Well, I think more people are. More people are, aren't they? Yeah, we can only do so much. It's those people out there listening that have to carry the torch for crack climbing wherever they are in the world.
You know what everyone should be doing? Starting up a blog right now, putting those keywords into their blog, get Google Trends to pick it up. It will realise it's a hot topic.
It's not really necessary about getting Google Trends to pick up, though. It's more, again, that's not really what we're aiming for. The aim
Isn't it?
The aim is to try and get more crack climbing to more people and more knowledge. Does Google Trends help that? Because then does it start promoting it? Like crack climbing will start trending on like TikTok and stuff.
No, but you know when you go into Google and you start typing a word and then it has suggested search terms.
Oh, yeah.
If I type Pete Whitaker, it'll be like Pete Whitaker climber, Pete Whitaker, how tall, Pete Whitaker, sausage fingers.
What does it come up with if you type that in?
Right, Google.
Maybe do yourself.
No, because it will be my own Google account. So
does it come up with Pete Whitaker sausage fingers? Because that would be fantastic.
.com. Okay, right. Pete Whitaker.
Please tell me sausage fingers is the first one.
It automatically suggests that you're a rock climber. So that's good. You're a British rock climber. And it's more wanting to know, I think, fairly standard stuff that it always has with people in the media spotlight, like age, wife, height, girlfriend, world record, brother. But the interesting bits are dynamics of change. So it's obviously picked that up quite a bit. World record.
I have 3 world records now.
Oh, and it also brings up art.
Did do a little bit of art for a while.
Yeah, that's interesting. So no, it didn't want to. Wait, did I say it wanted to know how tall you were? Pete Whitaker. Height. Yeah, there you go.
It does. It doesn't say how tall though.
No, it doesn't say how tall. But they also want to know whether you got a brother.
I've got a brother from another mother. That's you.
Yeah, whereas mine is not interested in knowing whether I've got a brother. Mine's also a little mixed because I have to compete with a Tory MP.
Oh, really? There's a Tory MP
who's also got this
called Tom Randall.
Who's also got the same name. Yeah.
We got really tangented there.
Yeah, we got massively tangented.
What is going to happen to crack climbing in comps? I've talked about it commercially, and that's where we got onto the exponential curve, and that's kind of what we see happening. I think in competitions, I don't feel like we're going to see. I think I'm in the same boat as you here. I don't think we're going to see like a crack dedicated problem in IFSC competitions. Not yet, or we're a very, 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 very long way away from that, unfortunately. Because I know that the IFSC have certain criteria that each boulder has to fill. It would be nice if there was kind of like a wild card boulder or something, and then the crack could be implemented into that, or something could be implemented into that. Because I don't think they have that at the moment. We haven't really seen that much off-width thing in comps, have we?
No, that's the one bit that I've wondered why that still stayed out. But I question whether that is an element of this whole thing that we saw early on, where route setters' skill set in terms of climbing cracks themselves, but then also how to set it, is so undeveloped in off-widthing that it simply hasn't occurred because they just don't know how to do it.
I think that is the reason. Actually, the setters don't have the skill set of off-width climbing, so they're afraid to set it. And also the competition climbers, I don't think, have the skill set of off-width thing. I think if you just put one in there at some point just to kind of baffle, there must be somebody in there who kind of had an understanding or knows potentially what to do by now, who might be able to like fathom through it.
It'd be funny to have a wide pony, wouldn't it?
It would. Imagine if it was just like a really simple, quite steep, pure off width, just pure grovel, a slippery, pure grovel, like a dual texture, and they were just arm barring inside and like chicken winging and stuff.
Oh, you know when you trained with Yanya
Yeah.
on the jamming and crack climbing, you went over there and worked with her and her coach. What kind of crack climbing standard grade was she comfortable on, then starting to struggle on, and then was just too much? Where did her actual limit lie on that? Because obviously you were trying the problems with her and setting and things like that.
Yeah, I would say the problems that we set, the ones that we really worked on and practiced the techniques. Yeah, I actually showed like how the hand is working in the crack and all this kind of stuff, and then we did some bouldering. I would say was up to 7A. Oh no, there was like a chicken winging thing where we set some eliminates, which was harder than 7A. That probably went up to maybe like 7B or 7B plus. But we definitely didn't do anything harder than that. We had set some harder ones, but we never got round to trying them because I guess we were mainly focusing on the technical aspect of it. And
If you had to set in a comp and the PCL pulled you in for the next round of setting and said, we want a crack problem, Pete, and we need to get Yanya to be, maybe topping, but also having a bit of a struggle, what grade would you set out for her?
I mean, I would go a little bit harder than what we did in the coaching session now because I did one like big coaching session with her. And then I went back over for her event and we also had like a little bit more coaching stuff. And she also climbed maybe like a 7B crack on a rope, like as a route. And I always feel like with these athletes that, okay, they do it a few times and then they leave it for a bit. And then the next time they do it, they're actually like substantially better than they were before without actually having really done that much. That's what I've noticed quite a lot. I would go for setting it around 7B, 7B plus. Remember that black one that was at the works in the corner of the comp wall a while back?
Yes, I do. Good problem that was.
How hard was that?
That was probably 7B.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. But you'd really have to make sure that it was set in a way that wasn't cheatable and you couldn't like lay back on the like some big slopey ball or like whatever you were jamming in between. You just have to make sure that it's not cheatable and it was actually jamming. Yeah, I think I'd be pretty confident at setting it about that level. I mean, like when when I set for the Red Bull dual ascent, I mean, we both went on that crack. How hard was that crack? If you had to give them boulder grades.
Bottom one was maybe V4 or like an easy V4, and then the top one was a hard V5.
I would say exactly the same, yeah. I was going to say like 6B and 6C. I mean, that was in the middle of a route, but that gave some of the competitors a real fight and a good challenge just at that level. I mean, admittedly, they had climbed 2 pitches to get there. They would have been a little bit pumped, but I think as a boulder problem by itself, then something like that would be too easy in a competition for sure. If you're going a whole number grade above that and you're going 7C, I think that would be too much.
Yeah, interesting. That was interesting to hear what your view on that would be. Your answer was about what I was expecting on it, but yeah, just interested.
Anything else to say with cracks and comps?
PCL, Charlie Bosco, Dannon, if you're listening, which I'm sure you are because obviously the Wide Boyz podcast is one of the most listened to climbing podcasts in the world.
We're not quite there yet, Tom. I'll send you the stats later. We're not quite there yet. Give it time, though.
But are we on the beginning of the hockey stick?
Oh, we're very on the beginning of the hockey stick. Yeah, we're on the very flattest bit of the hockey stick at the moment. If you're listening to this, share it with people. If you're enjoying this, share it, so we can just get on that slight curve of the hockey stick. Anyway, carry on with what you were saying.
I think I was just going to say, hit us up because you want more cracks in comps, and what would be better than having me or you or both of us setting a crack problem, everyone would climb on it, and then afterwards we would do the breakdown and we'd actually be able to flip in, talk about the realities of the situation rather than making shit up because we haven't actually been to the comp. We've just watched it on a live stream and we're just making total guesswork. So you'll actually get some opinion from us that might vaguely count for something.
That was the good thing about the Red Bull Dual Ascent, actually. We'd actually been on the route, so we could comment. Well, we'd actually set the route or set that section of the climb, sorry. So we were actually able to comment on it. Do you know what would be the other great thing? The other great thing is PCL happens again. A crack goes into the competition. We come and help set the crack. That would be fantastic. And then we also give a little bit of commentary. Bit of commentary from us. Wide Boyz commentary. Do you want that, Tom?
Yeah, I'd love to do a bit more commentary.
Maybe we should just get in touch with the guys.
At the end of the day, this is why the future really is that we do the Pro Jamming League, because we can just do whatever the hell we want, and we can do the setting and we can do the commentary and we can do exactly what we want. Just like Crackfest, when we always said, why are none of these walls setting good crack problems indoors? And now we've got it where we get to go and set out the crack problems and make stuff exactly how we wanted. So it's perfect.
Oh, also, folks, just on Crackfest, that is happening on the 8th, 9th, 10th of May. So if you are psyched, if you want to come and climb some cracks indoors, or you want to jam for the first time, or you're an experienced jammer and you want lots of crack problems to try, then come and join us at Crackfest. Me and Tom will be there. It is in Germany. We're only doing one event this year, so it's big. It's a big event. It's going to be a great weekend. There's lots of excitement and crack and jamming, challenges, some chance to win money, a really great community of people. So if you are psyched, come and join us. Would you say, Tom? Crackfest is the event of the year, isn't it, really?
Oh yeah, I mean it's good fun. It's very, very high energy, and you get to meet and hang out with loads of other people that are all interested in the same kind of style. And I feel like last year when I went to German Crackfest, I kind of hadn't really appreciated how many European crack obsessed crack swimmers there were out there. We kind of knew it from the UK scene already, but then seeing all of them in Europe as well, it was kind of, this is really nice. There's so many psyched people, and it's just really good fun, basically.
Let's give 1 pointer each to our listeners of how they can try and help get crack climbing into competitions, into their local competitions, and into their local gyms to help get crack to more people. What can the listener do right now to help them get more crack in their life and help their friends and their gyms get more crack in their life? Because that's what everybody wants, really.
Okay, I tell this to everyone, and I'm repeatedly saying the exact same strategy. Go on the social media of your local climbing wall, comment on every single post saying, why have you not set any cracks down the wall? There's loads of us that all love it. We really want to see it. Get your friends to comment on that comment saying, yeah, we're all here waiting. And then when the wall doesn't reply to it, every subsequent post, comment on the wall's comment saying, you've ignored our comments, get on it. Just hassle them, harass them through social media. That's the way to win. Yeah, what's yours?
I mean, you kind of covered it. I was going to say the same thing. I'll go down the non-social media route, and I will say do exactly the same thing, but do it to the staff at the desk every time you go into the climbing wall. Have you set any cracks yet? And just be really enthusiastic about it. And then they'll go, oh, no, not yet. So disappointed. I know the gym down the road set some. They're really good. I'm thinking of going there. So basically, folks, I think the way to do this is just keep asking. Let people know that you're keen. You have to let people know that you're keen. Because back in the day, people said they were keen for paddle dynos. And guess what? We had a load of paddle dynos. So if people keep saying they're keen for cracks, then we're gonna get some cracks.
Yeah, totally agree. That's what we're going to be doing.
Anything else before we end?
No.
Okie dokie, folks. Right, that is it from us. Until another episode, go and have fun with your crack climbing, and we will see you in those jams. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Stone towers with and getting at the shower. And then I'm gonna check the old grades, because the old grades will fade. This is the way I'm climbing in the Czech Republic.